He was one of the very first professional wrestling superstars. His flamboyant, charismatic character shot him to the very top. He's even a WWE Hall of Famer. That man was Gorgeous George. Born George Raymond Wagner on March 24th, 1915 in Butte, Nebraska. He moved to Texas as a young child at age 7. He grew up very poor. He dropped out of high school in 1929, and then he began training to become a professional wrestler at a local Houston YMCA. He started wrestling at carnivals when he first started. Professional wrestling first started in the late 19th century. As a carnival side attraction, wrestling became popular and became a sport, traveling and performing at arenas. And the professional wrestling sport almost lost its popularity. That was after a promoter named Jack Pfeffer got fired, and he was so angry at his bosses that he revealed to journalists that the matches were predetermined and scripted. The word got out, and it was in many newspapers, and the fans started to turn away from the sport. Gorgeous George would change that when his charismatic character became a box office attraction and a must-see. So how did he become Gorgeous George? Well, at the very beginning of his career, he was standing at only, 5'9". He was a clean-cut wrestler. And he was not getting any success as a clean-cut 5'9" wrestler. So his wife Betty told him that he wouldn't make any money that way. So she told him to come on, get dirty. And those were in her own words. He focused on his style and appearance. He wore Chanel perfume and wore custom-made robes. He even curled his hair and dyed it platinum blonde. And that was the creation of Gorgeous George. He debuted his character in 1941 in Eugene, Oregon. He toured arenas and gained popularity. The television was also coming out at that time, so it was perfect timing, and he even gained more popularity when he hit the big screen. His first television appearance took place on November 11th in the year 1947. His valet Jeffries, with an S, Jeffries, escorted him down a personal red carpet carrying a silver mirror. We're right by an airport, you guys, so I've constantly been hearing jet engines, and it's pretty cool to see them just fly by. Gorgeous George is considered the industry's first villain. and he would cheat at any time he had the chance. He did win multiple championships. His theme song he used was Pomp and Circumstance. The Macho Man Randy Savage actually used that theme, different versions of that theme later on when he started his career, so that's pretty cool. His star power was so huge that he was able to ask and receive 50% of gate admission, and yeah, he would receive that. So he was able to make $100,000 a year at that time, and that was a lot of money for a professional wrestler. That $100,000 a year would make him one of the highest paid athletes in the world at that time. He did pave the way for future wrestlers though, like Classy Freddie Blassie, Ric Flair, Gold Dust, and he even influenced Muhammad Ali, James Brown, and Bob Dylan. They said that they were influenced by George. In one of his final matches, he wrestled against and lost to the upcoming Bruno Sammartino. His final match took place on November 7th, 1962, at the Grand Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles. All right, everybody, without further ado, here is the final resting place of the charismatic, flamboyant, original first superstar, Gorgeous George. The headstone says, "Love to our daddy, Gorgeous George, 1915 to 1963, Carolyn Dawn." So after retirement, he built a turkey ranch in Baymont, California. He raised the turkeys, and he even owned a cocktail lounge in Van Nuys. He called it Gorgeous George's Ringside Restaurant. The 1978 film, The One and Only, starring Henry Winkler, was pretty much based on this man's career. So the same year he retired, he was diagnosed with liver cirrhosis, and that is actually the reason why he retired. His doctors even instructed him to. On Christmas Eve, December 24th, 1963, he had a heart attack. He died 2 days later. He was 48 years old. In 2010, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. His plot here was paid for fellow wrestler and Macho Man's father, Angelo Poffo. So yeah, that's probably why Macho Man used his theme. He was probably influenced by him as well. So Macho Man did throw some tributes out there for this man right here, Gorgeous George, who paved the way for a lot of professional wrestlers that would probably not be doing what they're doing right now if it wasn't for him. I'm a pretty big wrestling fan myself. I grew up watching it. Cousins always watched it. It's, I mean, yeah, it's scripted and everything's predetermined, but it's interesting to watch. By the way, that airport over there is Hollywood Burbank Airport. I didn't realize we were that close to it. That is it for me here at the final resting place of Gorgeous George, George Wagner, the guy that paved the way for everybody like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels. I can name them all. This guy started a industry that wouldn't be what it is today. Yeah, he's inducted into the Hall of Fame. I don't even think he's ever stepped foot in a WWF ring, and he's in that Hall of Fame. That's wild. That's how much he's done for the industry. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. God bless you all. I will see you guys in the next one.